Hello, good morning to our Instagram followers. Hope you're all well, and welcome to this last instalment of the fourth series of these masterclasses. I'm Lance Corporal Dan Robertson, and I'm a bassoonist currently serving in Portsmouth Band. And I've been in for around about 10 years now. So what I'd like to share with you this morning is a few things really. You know, what it's like in the band service for a bassoonist. And we've got a few people joining. Good morning. So yeah, I want to talk to you about what it's like being a bassoonist in the band service, some of my experiences, and the main part of this masterclass really, which is time efficient bassoon practice. You know, how to make it effective. You know, and it can transfer to other instruments really. Maybe not some of the techniques, obviously, but hopefully there'll be something for everybody. So yeah, I want to talk about how do you structure your practice really, like warm-up scales, what we could be doing as well as, and then I want to talk to you briefly, and I mean brief, about my musical journey, how I got started, and how I got into the band service. And you know, if there are, and I'll be taking questions from you guys as well along the way. And if there are any questions that I miss or I can't answer, don't worry, you're in luck. We've got our recruitment specialist, Band Corporal Amy Phillips, and she will be on straight after me to answer some of those questions. You know, and if you've got any questions, they might be silly, but there's no such thing as a silly question. If you're thinking about it, other people probably are. So, yeah, make sure you ask Amy those. I'll give you a prime example in a minute. So how I got started playing music around about 10 years old. And at my primary school, there was either a choice of tenor on or cello going. So I picked the tenor on and had a few lessons, and then joined the brass band world with my granddad and my cousin Mark. And yeah, great fun. Really enjoyed it, and did that. And I never really played in anything higher than a third section, really. Mainly all my childhood was playing in fourth section bands, so you know, but it was really enjoyable. I loved it. And then secondary school, couldn't pick GCSE music, so I'd forgotten any kind of possible further music education or possible career in music. So I left secondary school and went to college. I tried doing like a public service course, and I really struggled to get on with it really. And again, my cousin Mark, you'll find out he plays quite a big role in my musical journey really. He was doing music at the college, and he said, why don't you transfer over? So I did, and I think I was playing trumpet at the time. I was trying anyway, and I went in, and because I didn't do very well at secondary school, you know, I didn't get any A to C's GCSE wise, so I started on the basic course. So there's me walking in with a trumpet, and most students at the time on that course were either into metal or rock or punk. So you know, not knocking it, metal's my favourite genre. So I went in with a trumpet, and they wanted to play. There wasn't much scope to do any other genres, so I took up bass guitar a little bit to try and fit in really, and went on to the next course. And because there was a lot of bass guitar players that had been playing longer than myself, again, I then thought about learning something else. So I did a bit of vocals, which I've kept quiet in my band service career, probably for a good reason, probably not very good. It's been a long time. And then went on to top up to a degree. It was a popular music performance course, so it wasn't classical. There is all a point to all this babbling on. We'll get to it at the end, stick with me. So I went to uni, and I did a bit of trumpet, bass guitar and vocals as well. And the main emphasis that I wanted to put across there was, through this little bit of the journey, was to recap, I didn't get any A to C GCSEs. I wasn't amazing at one instrument. You know, I was quite mediocre at a few instruments. Got various grade 8s, but you know, you can always still be better than just getting grade 8. So I had a lot to learn, and yes, and then I was quite lazy as well, I don't mind admitting. So the main point that I wanted to get across, if you're thinking of joining up but you're holding yourself back for whatever reason, if I can do it, you can definitely do it. So if you're thinking about it, go for it. So yeah, that's a bit about that. And how I got into the band service was, again, my cousin Mark. He joined the regular Royal Navy, and he had his passing out ceremony at Raleigh, which is where Plymouth Band is located. And I went to watch that, and immediately, I'd left uni, and I was like, well, what now? It's very hard to get a job, especially in the music industry. You've got to be quite good, really, at what you do. And like I said, I was quite mediocre at a lot of instruments. So, my family were like, why don't you try and join up? My granddad, bless him, he was the main sort of influential character in getting me to join up. So the main emphasis on if I can do it, you can do it. So I've been in for about 10 years now. And and I'd have done it sooner, looking back, but I didn't have the knowledge of the band service up north. That's that. So so the main point, if I can do it, you can definitely do it. And so I'll move on to the next bit, which is our main part of the masterclass, is time efficient practice. You don't want to just go in and just open books out. You want to have a plan of what you want to achieve. Otherwise, it's not a waste of time, but you could have got something better. You want it more effective. So we're going to talk about a bit about warming up first and why it's important. I fell foul of this before I joined up. You don't play your long notes, you just want to get straight into the music. But there's a lot of things that we can be thinking about while warming up. So when you're doing your long notes, which could be boring perhaps, there's a few things we can think about to make it a bit more interesting. So first of all is your embouchure. When you're doing your long notes, what is a good thing to do is play a middle C, so you only need your left hand, hopefully. And with your other hand, what you want to do is, when you're playing your middle C, see if you can fit your finger in between your teeth. And that will mean your jaw's dropped enough. And it means that you're not putting unnecessary pressure, which can affect tuning, which we'll get onto. And, it's just all good, I think, for your embouchure, really. So again, if you're playing a middle C, for example, playing a middle C, and with this hand, you're going to be able to fit your finger in between your teeth, for example. So that's there, and it'll stop, like I did there, it'll make you aware if you're puffing out your cheeks. As soon as I did that, I was like, oh, puffing out the cheeks, you need to keep that a bit tighter, that'll affect your tuning as well. And there's a lot of things in this little bit about warming up, about tuning, because it is important on any instrument, but the bassoon, it is quite hard. It's renowned for, there's a typical joke of how do you get two bassoonists in tune? Shoot one of them. Don't do that, because we're a dying breed as it is, So, you want to do that, and that'll help your embouchure as well. There won't be any leakage of air outside, and it'll just help you tone, really. There's that, and there's also when another thing that you could be thinking about when you're doing these long notes is you can be thinking about your breathing. So not breathing from here, your shoulders. It's you want the breath from your diaphragm. So sticking your stomach out. Don't worry about looking fat. If you're worried about people watching your stomach while you're playing music, it's not happening. Don't worry about it. And if it is, stop it. So you want to be getting that air from the diaphragm, which it'll be warmer, and that'll help you tuning as well. So for example, as well, when you're doing your long notes, what we can be doing is, it might sound a bit a bit weird, but you can be thinking about the airflow through the crook, visualizing it, and that will help with your note production as well. So there's already a lot of things that I can be thinking about during these long notes that are no longer boring. So for example, I've got a balloon. Stay with me. I haven't gone mad during lockdown. although homeschooling the kids has nearly got me there. So what we're going to do is, when we're visualising this, oh, hang on a minute, we've got a question. How did you feel having to change to bassoon? Weird change. So good question, thank you, A Drinkwater 1. At first, when I was, you audition on many instruments, and you know, if you missed it, there was a masterclass a couple of episodes back about 4 musicians, you know, how they journeyed into the band service and what you expect when you join up. And so basically how I felt at the time, I thought, oh no, I'm never going to play a brass instrument again, you know, and I thought, do I want to do it? You know, I had to think about it, and I was honest about that. And I'm glad that I did do it, because it's not like, don't think, I have a bit of an open mind when you go to audition, that you might possibly play another instrument, but you know, it's again more of a journey. Oh, hello to Annabelle Poppy, morning, giving us a wave there. Don't try and be a bit open-minded about it, because in training, yes, you have to focus on the instrument that you're learning or improving, perhaps, and there is possibility when you get into a band of playing other instruments again. You know, you might want to go back to it and do it as a hobby outside of the job, you know, if there's chance and opportunities, time to do so. And you can, so you can play again, so it's not like the end of it. You know, on the masterclass that I spoke about, if you go on YouTube, type in Royal Marines and hit playlist, and there's a masterclass playlist on there, and on there, like I said, was the 4 musicians, and the bassoonist on there, Joel Madden, he plays guitar, you know, and he's able to do that in the job. So you know, it's not the end of the world. You're never going to touch that instrument again, you know. So yeah, at first I thought, oh, it's a shame, but you know, you can play other instruments. So yeah, be a bit open-minded about that. It's fine. So yeah, where was I? The balloon. So stay with me. So airflow, when we're doing our long notes, you know, we're warming up, what we can be thinking about also is the airflow. So lower notes, you want to be thinking of a slower airflow, really, to get control of those lower notes. And then the higher notes, you want to think about more passive of air. So for example, your lower notes, if you've got a balloon, get a balloon. If you've got a balloon now, go get it. We'll do it together. So for low notes, for example, that was a balloon, not me, promise. So as you can see, the balloon was slow blowing up there. So then an example of a higher airflow for those higher notes. That's gone. We don't need it again, it's fine. So as you can see, the balloon was blown up faster there. And when you're doing that, think about your stomach, what your stomach's doing. And we can also do that for vibrato, for example, you know, get the balloon again and blow it a bit at a time, but nipping the end of it to stop it, and then starting again. And, you know, pay particular attention to what's happening with your stomach muscles, and not to that effect, but it overemphasizes it. But that's what you want to do. You know, you don't want vibrato from the throat, or bless him, my granddad played in brass bands. He got his vibrato, he was playing his baritone at the time, he used to shake his head like that. It's funny, bless him, but it's not what you want. You know, you want it from the diaphragm, you know. It'll help, it'll keep you tuning in there. So yeah, so already there's a lot we can be thinking about. And another thing we can think about during tuning is, if you haven't already, you know, if you're just starting out, or maybe you've been playing a while and you think, oh, I could do that, do we doing that, get a tuner on your phone, on your laptop, or whatever, buy a tuner and play a long note. And you want it in the green, obviously, so you can work at getting it there, and then perhaps maybe closing your eyes again, you know, playing the note, opening them, and seeing if you're there. You know, practice that, because that'll help with your tuning. And when you jump in notes, you know, C, you've got 4 octaves, you've got 4 Cs, you can have a stab at there to, you know, practice getting it in tune and keeping that airflow idea of more airflow for higher notes, so that can help. And so yeah, get a tuner, that will help a little bit. and then possibly after that, if you're feeling a bit more confident and you've got it, you can then look at just getting a piano app, playing the note, listening to it, and then playing it on the bassoon and trying to keep it in tune there. And when you're doing your long notes also, you can work at crescendoing, decrescendoing, getting louder and quieter. And when you're watching your tuner, see if it differs, because when you get louder, you want to keep it in tune and quieter also. So, for example, which is important, a lot of people, before I joined up, you think slow pieces are easy, and they're not. It takes a lot of control. And if you implement all these in your warm-ups, maybe you set aside 10 minutes for your warm-up, you can be thinking about all these things really. So for example, I'll just play a C, crescendo, decrescendo, and hopefully the note will differ in tune. So looking at a tuner, that should stay in really. And if it does wobble, you can work at your embouchure on how to change that. So yeah, that's long notes really. So all of that, there's a lot of things we can be thinking about to make it less boring. So I'll set aside 10 minutes for that, and don't think, I've been playing for ages, I don't need to do that. Everyone needs to do it. Professionals, maybe they've had a couple of weeks holiday, come back, they'll do it as well. So yeah, it's definitely not beyond everybody or anything. So there's lots of things we can be doing there. So I'm going to move on to scales a little bit. So you've done 10 minutes of warm-ups, and also why it's important for warm-ups is you can check if your reeds correctly where you want it, if there's any problems with the bassoon as well really. We'll get onto reeds a bit later, not too much though. So scales, what we can do to make them more fun. You might be putting them off or anything like that. Perhaps you've got, we've got another question here. When joining, does bassoon have an instrument pairing? That's a good question. Thank you, Alexandra. Yeah, so as a bassoonist in the band service, you are then required, so you do wind band, orchestra, woodwind quintets, and then on parade band, we don't have bassoons or oboe on parade. So you do cymbals and bass drum, not at the same time, that'd be mental, but separate. So I do a lot more cymbals, but you train in both. For example, a career highlight of mine was doing Ant and Dec's Saturday Night Takeaway, and I wasn't on it originally. However, the percussionist that was on bass drum had to do something else, so I was last port of call. And I had to do a static on that. That should be on YouTube somewhere if you want to find that. That was an amazing experience. So yeah, so that's what you do. You do cymbals and or bass drum. And again, open mind. Don't worry about it. Or I don't fancy hitting cymbals together or doing signals on a bass drum. There's good points to it. When I do parade bands and things, you can't exactly go looking around too much on parade, but you can see more at your peripheral vision, and it's just a bit nicer. What are the fitness requirements for joining up? Good question, and if okay, I'm going to pass that over at the end of this. If you're just joining, we've got our recruitment specialist, Amy Phillips, Band Corporal Amy Phillips, and I think that'll be a good question to ask her, because I joined up about 10 years ago now, so things could have changed. I don't want to give you a wrong answer there, so thanks for that question. So where was I? Your scales, how do we make them effective? There's many things that you can do. You can make them overcomplicated. Before I joined up, I had an amazing music tutor when I played brass, and one of the ways that he taught me, it might not have been everybody, it might have just been me, he taught me finger patterns. How to do the scales. Now, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and the reason why I feel it's effective and efficient to do scales the way that I'm going to mention soon is if you rely on finger patterns, when you come maybe to an exam or an audition, they're asking you a few scales perhaps, if you just rely on finger patterns, there's Basically, there's a really good masterclass already. I'm not going to touch on it too much, but the mental side of playing, there's a good masterclass already. If you go on YouTube, like I mentioned, and hit playlists, there's masterclass on there, and there's one given by Colour Sergeant Joss Tiley, a French horn player, and he talks a lot about the mental side of playing. So basically, I'll touch on it quick. You've got your frontal part of the brain, which is referred to as the human. A lot of this is taken from a book by The Chimp Paradox, which I've just started reading because of it. And there's a thumbs up there from Les Griffiths. Good morning. Basically, you've got your frontal part, which is the human part. Then you've got the limbic part of the brain, which is referred to as the chimp. And then you've got your computer part of the brain. And a lot with music, learning the bassoon or any instrument, you rely on your computer part of the brain to put in those finger changes, everything really. And if you rely on finger patterns, maybe you're getting a bit nervous, like we all do. I'm a nervous, anxious person. This masterclass is doing wonders for my nerves. I'm kidding, we'll be all right. If you rely on finger patterns, your chimp might start saying to you, you might forget these finger patterns. You're not going to be able to do this, And what the theory behind the scales, by learning the theory and making them harder, which we'll go on to soon, you can calm that part of your brain down by your human part perhaps saying, well, I know the theory behind a scale and I've done it harder, so this will be okay. And then that chimp will go back to sleep, and then you can rely on your computer then, because in this book it refers to the chimp is 5 times stronger than your human part, and the computer part is 20 times more powerful than the human part and 5 times more powerful than the chimp. So, it's worth a read on. If you are interested in watching the masterclass, like I mentioned, just go on there, and it's Colour Sergeant Joss Tiley. And I think it's around about the 23rd minute. He mentions quite a lot about it, and so it's really good. I'm not going to go on about what he's already spoken about because it's all there. So while we want to learn this, we've got another question here. Alexandra MCB again. Do you find it harder to keep your higher or lower notes in tune? I think from what I mentioned in, I'll answer the first question first. I've got a terrible memory. I have to stick on point. So, like I mentioned, if you miss part of this masterclass and you want to go back, hopefully this will be, I think it's on Instagram straight away after. I'm not an Instagram user. I've only just got Twitter, so I'm far behind on the times. It also goes on YouTube, hopefully in a few days. And so if you missed a bit, but what I spoke about in the warm-up notes, high notes, you want that higher passive of air, and that'll help with your tuning and making sure your draws, you're not tightening up, tensing. A lot of musical instruments, when you get higher, you start tensing, you go, oh, am I going to hit it? So you want to keep calm and relaxed. That it does struggle sometimes to stay in tune. You'll find that out if you get a tuner and play those high notes and try and figure out, if you put more air in it and drop the jaw and be confident, you can do it. So it can be harder to keep them in tune, the high notes, but by doing that, hopefully it will help. And we've got another question. What was that book? Sounds good, might give it a read. That book that was talking about the on the mental side of, it's on everyday life, but it can refer quite well in our music playing. We have these constant battles in our head of nerves and things like that. It's called The Chimp Paradox by Dr. Steve Peters. It's a really good read. I'm just halfway through it and I'm enjoying reading it. It makes a lot of sense to me anyway. I'm not saying it will for everybody else. So scales, I'll get onto it. So what you can do is, by learning the theory of it, this is why I'm talking about the mental side of it, by learning the theory you can say, oh well, I know what's in the scale. You can take a minute we get told in our exams, to wait a minute, or good morning, hide of the purr. We've got another question by Hasmans. I bet some of you are going, just play the scale, but we'll get there. I do go off on tangents. Do you make your own reeds? From Rumsom, and there's a laughing face there. I'll get on to reeds. I don't personally. I'm I was terrible at it. I don't know why, but we'll get on to a little bit of reeds. Yeah, but no, I don't make my own reeds. In the job, you get your instrument provided to you if you join up, and luckily for me, reeds are provided, so it definitely helps me because it'd take me hours to make one reed. But anyway, so the scale. We'll just do an F major scale, for example, but whatever scale you were doing, this will apply. If you make it, so if you know the theory behind it, what's in it, you can calm those nerves down. I know what's in it. And also when you're practicing it, if instead of doing straight quavers, whatever metronome might be doing it to, if you don't have a metronome, get one of them. That'll help you keep it. That's another good technique of keeping it all even and things like that. So an F major scale. So we're going to, instead of doing it straight, we're going to do it like a dotted quaver followed by a semi-quaver. So for example, and you can change that the other way, so a semi-quaver followed by a dotted quaver. Got a bit of water in there somewhere. So by doing that, you're overcomplicating the finger change. And, so when you come to do it straight quavers, you can think to yourself, well, I've done it harder. It gets those finger changes quicker, and do it tongued and slurred. They're all good techniques that you can do, and it's all good for that, really, I think. And you can also do it in thirds. So again, stick to the same scale. So by doing that, you're thinking about your next note. You're not just relying on finger patterns that I mentioned earlier. You're thinking about the theory side of it. So when you come to your exams or audition, maybe they're asking you a few scales. You'll be a bit more confident on that. So yeah, that's a bit about scales. Another thing. So get a metronome, get a tuner, record yourself as well. And watch it back. That sounds really. I've got another thing, Alexander. That sounds really good. Might try that for chromatic scales. It'll work for everything really. And another thing that you can do, for example, sticking with the same scale, you can go up 5 notes, come back down. So. And so on. You can do that, and that'll make you think about what the next note is. So it's in a way, it's over preparing your scales and knowledge of scales. And we'll jump on to. We've got another question from from Emily XX13. What instrument is that? I'm dumb and well, not really. I'm in a marching band, and we don't have anything like that. So this is a bassoon, and so I take that. You don't play bassoon, but obviously watching this you must show a little bit of interest maybe. So I'll mention a little bit about how you can get into learning the bassoon, because it's a very expensive instrument. Before I joined up, I wouldn't have played it. My first instrument was like £200, tenor on. So bassoon, it can very expensive, and that can maybe put people off. There is a bit of a thing of there's lack of bassoonists out there. You could look at the possibility of renting if you're not sure. You don't want to put that much financial investment in something. You can just go on Google. I've never looked at renting a bassoon before, so I just had a quick look, and on House you can rent something around about £50-80 a month. I think there was a package on another website, £120 a month, but you got a really good bassoon, and it came with insurance and things like that. So maybe you're thinking about that, or someone else quite fancies playing the bassoon. So renting could be a good idea, with the possibility of then maybe you could then buy one. Second hand will obviously be cheaper, but it's still quite a bit of money. So yeah, that's that. Alexandra MCB I started on bassoon and then went back to sax and clarinet. Really want to get back to the bassoon. So yeah, that's great. Definitely pick it up. Or join maybe in the community where you are. There's some wind bands or anything, or orchestras. They might have some bassoons that they're happy to lend out to you, so you could learn that way. Look into that as well. Thanks from WLollipop3. Sometimes you can rent with your local music service. That's another good point. So there's always ways you can get into it, definitely if you're interested. That's a bit about scales. And so we're going to move on to exercises. And I've got a little exercise here. What I'm wanting to put across is how when you make a mistake, you can correct it and make a piece better. So I've got a book here I borrowed from a colleague, and I've not seen it for a while, not since training this book, with the idea of I'm probably going to trip up. It's a good excuse that for going wrong, isn't it? It's probably going to go wrong, but that's okay. We all make mistakes, and we can make that better. Just quickly, Hyde of the Per says, how many tours have you done? If that's musical tours that you're thinking about, so just touch on a few of my experience in the band service. I forgot to mention this, didn't I? Thank you for that question. I've been to places like, I went to Rotterdam, I've been to Basel, Lucerne, I've been to France, Isle of Man, put them in there. But my favourite was going to Australia and New Zealand. Always never got that opportunity, as a kid. So that was amazing opportunity. I don't know if I've mentioned it already. I probably have. I'm probably repeating exactly what I've said. But Australia and New Zealand was great experience. It was a lot of work. We didn't. We didn't get a lot of time to see things. I think Australia, we had one morning. Just do whatever you want in your free time. There's a lot of rehearsals and waiting around. That's part of the job, but you're still travelling and seeing the world is amazing. We got one morning. If you're interested, I went to Melbourne Zoo. I really enjoyed it. And then New Zealand, we got a little bit more time to see things and brilliant sceneries, and perhaps maybe if you're looking at joining, you like music and you like sports, there's opportunities within the job to do sports and adventure training. Might shock some of you, I'm not exactly the adventurous, sporty types. Won't shock anyone in the job. But I went to Bavaria and did a package, adventure training package. Did all sorts of things out there. It was amazing. So there's always those opportunities. So that's amazing. So where did we get to? We got to exercises, didn't we? If there's anything I've missed, I started talking about something and I've moved on to something else, just put on there, whoa, you need to talk about this. My mind goes on a tangent sometimes. So anyway, I've got this book, Exercises. And we spoke about, sorry for the technology, I'm an Android user, so I can't show you images and stuff through the phone. Apparently you can only do that on Apple, don't know why. We'll get into that debate anyway. So, as you can see from doing the scales, by learning the theory behind it, already at the start in this exercise, there's a C major arpeggio there. And then on the way down, there's a scale. So by the efficient time that you've spent doing scales, learning the theory behind it, is you can your brain will think that's a scale, so it doesn't have to think about every note. I think before I joined up, when speaking about I just learned finger patterns. You don't necessarily recognise the scales within the music, perhaps, and you're thinking about every note, so there's more chances of you tripping up. But by looking, by doing this, I think it's effective. It helps me anyway. It's what we learn in our training anyway, I think. I'm going to play this with the idea that I am going to slip up, and that's okay. It's about finding out where you've gone wrong. And because mainly when you make a mistake, you think, oh, that's what's went wrong. That's where you've fallen over. However, in my opinion, you've started tripping up maybe a few notes ago, a few bars before. So we go back, not all the way to the beginning, because that's not time effective. It's not efficient. If you just keep going back to the beginning, you're wasting a bit of time. You can already play that, hopefully, for me anyway. So I'll just play a little bit of this. I'll probably go wrong because I haven't seen it in a while, with the idea of we'll look at where it went wrong and work how we can fix it. You know, maybe you're doing an exercise and you wanted to fix it. So here we go, hopefully it'll go not too bad. So there, for example, just gone wrong there, which is fine. Thought it might happen. So I went wrong here. So, you know, maybe I was thinking about the accidentals a bit too much. You know, this exercise, it skips from bass clef to tenor clef. So, you know, maybe there was something that I was thinking. And yeah, so it was around about... So it's around about here. So we're just going to work on this finger change here, and then we're going to add a couple of notes to it when we're doing it, and maybe a couple of notes behind it, and then we can go back, not all the way, but just the bar before, and then we can see if it's fixed. So for example, it was I think the C to the G sharp. I've just gone back, I'm still in, yeah, just gone back to bass clef, so that's probably what tripped me up. So we're just going to work on that C to G, and like we did with the scales, we can look at you know, when we did the dotted quavers followed by the semiquaver, that's the same kind of technique we're going to use here. So for example, so we've got that finger change, and then we're going to add the note after. So again, by doing this, we'll add the note after that and notes before it. You know, we'll iron out the problem. They say to iron out a problem, you need to do it right 5 times or something like that, 8 times, and then it'll get rid of the bad one. So we'll try a few things here. So then when you do it straight, it becomes a bit easier. So then I'm going to go back now, just one bar, not all the way to the beginning. I think it went all right. I'll probably watch this after and go, oh, that was horrendous as well. But anyway, we're going to go back the bar before and see if it kind of works out a bit more for us. So as you can see, that part that we tripped up on anyway has, you know, you fixed it. It's not fixed itself, you fixed it. So yeah, so that's a bit about exercises. You know, when you go to do your exercises, oh, hang on, we've got another question from Alexandra MCB again. How do you improve your sight reading skills? Is it just practicing? Yeah. So, for example, in our job, well, in Portsmouth Band anyway, we do something called a Bandmaster series. So it's our sergeants learning to conduct and things like that. And we'll get... you know, the concerts will be on the Thursday night, and you get the music beforehand if it's available. However, by no fault of anybody's, sometimes you just get the music on the Monday. So yeah, you've got to be able to sight read a little bit. However, if you're not brilliant at it, don't worry about it. Get a few things and just try sight reading. You know, things that can help you out is looking at it. You know, just looking if there's any. You know, we have sight reading exams. I think you have it in exams anyway. But when you're joining up, I think you have. You know, throughout your training, it might have changed a little bit since I've done it. But you have. Specific milestones of exams, and one of them will be sight reading. So there's things you can be thinking about. You can be thinking about what key it's in. You can, and by, like I said, by doing all these scales and warm-ups, you know, you might notice there's a scale in it. So you're like, well, that's a scale there, that's a scale there. That'll be fine. The computer part of the brain will take over that bit, and then you can focus on things like dynamics, things like that. That'll get you extra marks maybe in your exams. So yeah, that's sight reading. But don't panic if you're thinking my sight reading is not amazing. You know, we get new pieces of music that we sight read quite frequently, and You know, I don't think anyone judges anybody, you know, as long as you get it right for the next rehearsal, you know, which is all this time efficient stuff by, you know, maybe, for example, you've got a piece of music. Like when I've had a long day of rehearsing on the Monday, I don't then want to be practicing anymore. I tend to come in the next day a bit earlier, you know, half an hour earlier maybe, and work on it. And I complicate it. So by doing different rhythms, you know, making it, you know, the whole swinging sort of rhythm, which I've been doing a bit, probably not very well. I'm not very good at swing stuff. So yeah, so by doing that, you might have a certain thing that you need to practice. So I come in and I pencil which bit I need to practice, and by overcomplicating it, when you come to play it, it's a bit easier. So yeah, maybe you go into rehearsal and you've forgotten. Not that ever happens to me. You know, I've forgotten. And you need a quick 5 minutes. Just work on those 4 bars. Don't be playing stuff that you can pretty much play. You know, that'll improve anyway. So you got back to me there. I sight read a lot, but only can sight read well pieces up to about grade 6 maybe. You know, and it will get better. You know, you're gonna be grade, you know, you grade 6, and you know you'll move on to grade 8 and things like that. But I believe, like with your exams and things, sight reading isn't a massive part of the percentage of your marks, I don't think. But yeah, so don't worry about it too much. You know. Yeah, so we've done a bit on exercises there, how we can improve that, and I want to move on to a piece just to sort of implement all the things that we've done. Kind of applies to a piece of music. So I've got something, if you're looking for something to play, you can, on a website, there's, let me get it right, I don't want to tell you the wrong one. Where is it? There it is. IMSLP. You can go on there, and there's a lot of public domain music on there that you can download. So if you're looking for something new, you know, look at that. You know, if you wanted to improve your sight reading, like Alexandra mentioned, you know, that's a good thing to do. Get a bit of music off there. You know, it's free. So yeah. So in this piece of music, this is Scheherazade. Played it. It's one of my favourite things that I've played. Oh, we've got another question. IMSLP. Yeah, just type in IMSLP into Google and it'll take you to a website, and you can find all sorts of music on there. There's parts for every instrument, you know, so yeah, try that out. But yeah, so I got this off there. You know, I've played it in the job and really enjoy playing it. It's a piece called Scheherazade, and in the second movement there's a really nice bassoon melody there, and as you can see, you know, you've got a few ornaments in there, and that's another thing from doing your scales, you know, by doing them quick finger changes and things, you know, that's another skill that will pass over to your pieces. And you know, there's a few scales in here, you know, all of it's in tenor clef, which, you know, I you know, it's just, we don't play in tenor clef all the time, you know, it does crop up, so, you know, but you learn that all in training. You know, if you're worried about learning a clef, you'll get there. You know, you can do it, you'll get there. So yeah, I'm going to play this music because it's important within your practice to just set aside 5-10 minutes to play something that you enjoy. You know, you don't want to be doing all the hard stuff, you know, because it'll put you off. You know, if all you're doing is your warm-ups and your scales and hard things, you know, you got to get enjoyment out of music. So yeah, I'll play this for you. Hopefully it'll go all right. And again, this is all high as well, so that what we talked about in the warm-ups, that high passive of air going in, keeping the jaw dropped for tuning, and your breath, because it's high up there, you know, you need a lot of breath, so breathing from the diaphragm, you know. So yeah, I'll stop babbling on, I'll play it. Well, that's gone terrible. Sorry, I'll start again. bit practice for me there, I think. But that's fine. I just really enjoy playing that piece. And on this, whenever you're doing all your scales or exercises or pieces, it doesn't matter what level you're at, you can use our hashtag RMBS Masterclass and put some videos on there. Maybe you're chuffed, you've finally cracked a scale by perhaps maybe using some of the techniques I've talked about this morning. If you're chuffed about it, put it on there. And if anyone's put stuff on there, be nice, comment on it, nice. We're all there's always, if you always think there's someone better than you, there's always someone worse than you. It doesn't matter. If you're improving on your musical journey, put that on there. That was that piece. So now I'll move on to a little bit about reeds, not too much, because we need our after this is obviously Band Corporal Amy Phillips, our recruitment specialist. This could be a bit of an opportunity to start getting tired, listening to my voice talking about reeds, that's helpful. We've got from A Drinkwater 1. So what it stands for, IMSLP, is International Music Score Library Project. So there you go. So So I'll talk a little bit about reeds. I'm terrible with reeds. We had a couple of questions about do I make reeds, which certainly I do not. And I'll be with my colleague, Band Lance Corporal Kerry McDougall. I'll be like, oh, this reed's not working out. Don't know what it's doing. Can't get it to work. And she'll get upset with me because I've asked her 5 times that day. She'll get your reed doctor out. It's a little booklet here by Dr. Sandra Downing. She also does reeds. She also does reeds. We got one from Alexandra at MCB again. Thank you for answering the questions. Have to go to work. Thank you. Have a lovely day at work. Hopefully the rest of this will be on YouTube. Hopefully. So hopefully you won't miss it. This reed doctor, go on Dr. Downing Music. She's got type that into Google. She's got a website on there, and one of these you can get for about £7, and it's good. It helps me out when Kerry reminds me to get it out. It has a lot of problems in here that you might be having. For example, problem 1, the reed is too hard, the tone is a little fuzzy, and it gives a good solution there on what you can do, what wires to squeeze, what perhaps to scrape. Obviously you want to squeeze your wires first rather than scraping away, or you can't reverse scraping as much. You can reverse and only make minor alterations as well. That's a really good little book to have there. On the website there's also things like Technical Doctor, and there's one, reed making is easy. From my experience, I disagree, but anyway, that's just me. I'm terrible with anything DIY or anything craft-wise. That's a little bit about reeds. Also, it's very important maintaining the bassoon as well. There's not too much cleaning involved. I pull through, and with the main thing on cleaning the crook, might sound a bit disgusting, but maybe during break you've had a cup of tea or a bit of cake. I always have cake at break and chocolate. So it's disgusting, might get in there, you get a lot of gunk in there. So it's worth cleaning that out, because if you don't, like we talked about the passive of air, it's going to struggle a little bit. So you want to do that. That's reeds. And then just a bit about life in the band service as a bassoonist. If you're interested in joining up, perhaps. Oh, hang on, we've got one from Oliver Thomas Music, and they ask, what was the instrument you're playing now your first instrument? If you missed a bit of this masterclass, hopefully it'll be on YouTube. There's many masterclasses on there to watch. Before I joined up, I was a brass player, so the job can take you on what instruments they need. Some of these questions will probably be good for our Band Corporal Amy Phillips, our recruitment specialist, who's on straight after me. So I didn't play the bassoon, but you've got a long time to learn it. They take you on what instrument they see potential in you. You audition on many instruments. I actually went out there wanting to get the bass category, the tuba and the bass guitar and string bass, but there were only 2 spaces that year for that. And so I got the bassoon. And yeah, so it is my first instrument now. It's my work instrument, I sort of refer it to, but I'm trying to learn to play the clarinet at the moment, just something to do, during lockdown, not at work and things like that. So so it's not my first instrument, and then like I mentioned, a bassoonist, we play cymbals and bass drum, and as a bassoonist in the band service, which is where I was at, I think, I struggle to remember where I am. You do wind bands, you do orchestras, and you do woodwind quintets as a bassoonist. And wind bands sometimes can be difficult because you can't be heard that much. It's a quiet instrument. It's meant to blend in. Unless it's really quiet and you've got a solo line. So it can be a bit disheartening at times. You've gone all that way, travelled quite a long way to a gig, and you feel like, oh, what was the point? You know what I mean? But with that, the possibility, what I think is a positive thing, is there's not a lot of pressure on that one. Get things right, obviously, don't mess about, but there's not as much pressure, so there's things of that. But I really enjoy orchestras. You can hear the bassoon a lot more. In Portsmouth Band we do a lot of orchestras, which I enjoy, and woodwind quintets I think is my favourite. Just 5 musicians playing music together, and playing like the bass parts and things. I quite enjoy, from being a bass guitar player, I like bass lines, so I really enjoy that, find it fun. That's a little bit about what life is like as a bassoonist in the band service. I'm trying to think if there's anything, other things that I've missed. So also as well, like I mentioned at the beginning, go on YouTube, watch these other masterclasses. There might be some other tips and things that you can transfer onto the bassoon or any instrument really. And check out our Mountain Festival of Music. It's our main show that we look forward to. We do it every year. And again, before I joined up, I didn't think I'd ever be playing in the Royal Albert Hall, so it's a great opportunity to do that. Drinkwater1 asks, what would you play a wee quintet for? A concert? So it doesn't tend to be concert. It tends to be officers' dinners and things like that. You do a lot of them. They're dining and things, and you want a bit of music. It's nice, the atmosphere and things like that. So you do a lot of dinners as a woodwind quintet. There are a few things that you do, which I love them. A lot of them are eating, drinking, so they're not listening completely all the time. They enjoy it, but so that takes a little bit of pressure off. Maybe that's why I enjoy it. A little bit of pressure, not that much there. And then like I said, if you struggle from nerves and anxieties, there's loads of masterclasses already from our, I think it's series 3. I think Cool Sergeant Josh Tardy talks about I think it's called The Power of Purposeful Practice. He talks a bit about the mental side of it, and how we can overcome those battles in our heads really. So that's a good one to watch our Mountain Festival of Music. And like I said, if throughout all these techniques that have helped me throughout my career, if they help you, and you're chuffed, there's an exercise you can finally play now by using that method of overcomplicating it, and then when you do it, it's easy. Put that on there using our hashtag RMBS Masterclass on there. And if I can't promise anything, but if I can get back to you, I'll say how amazing it is. And so keep going with that. And I think now we're just coming up to an hour. If you missed this and you want to watch more, like I said, go on YouTube. Go on our masterclasses, and I'm now going to pass over to our band corporal Amy Phillips, who's our recruitment specialist, to answer any of your questions. Thank you for joining me, and have a good day. I'll see you later.